Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleichem. The other day I was invited to a congregation of a Muslim friend of mine from work, and they do an outreach program every so often. It's not the first one I've attended, and I'm always honored to accept such invitations. And I sat there as each speaker began their words with Salam Aleichem, and lo and behold, the entire congregation around me is replying with Aleichem Salam, and a phrase which I'm afraid I didn't catch. But for any of the Jews out there, you as well as I must be struck with the similarity to our own phrase that in fact begins Shabbos, that begins every genuine greeting to a group of friends, Shalom Aleichem, peace unto you. And it's just such a fascinating thing to find this little phrase floating out there that is at the core of both of our beliefs, and so casually brought out to welcome people there, and yet it's just such a moment of conjunction between our histories. And of course there were other fascinating things about the speech. One thing I found compelling was the discussion of how the major jihad, the major conflict, was not with other people, but in fact within oneself, to conquer greed and injustice within yourself. And that's the major conflict. And I found that compelling. It parallels nicely the Jewish concept of fighting the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclinations within oneself that pull you away from your duties to other people and to God. And of course I found that compelling. And as well the observation that so much conflict which is apparently religious in nature seems so often to come as a result of a disparity between what the words of various prophets have been and the behavior of the followers that have come in later generations. And of course I found that very compelling. Of course there was no mistaking the undertone of anger when they speak about justice. Of course there was the mention of torture and Abu Ghraib. But again, I don't find this undertone of anger unfamiliar, as it is a feature of both groups. Whenever they come together, both groups have legitimate concerns that are bubbling underneath, causing us to be resentful. But I personally believe that these conflicts are a moment thing, a thing of the present. But Salam Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, peace unto you, this is a thing of the ages. This is something older than us. This is something that comes from far beyond what we understand, and it is something to strive for. And lo and behold, it is a common phrase between us, and I find that comforting and a cause for hope. So, peace unto you, whatever your race, religion, creed, or whatever, and I will speak to you again soon. Thank you.